You are not experiencing a lack of money because money is absent in your life. The deeper truth is that the inner experience of wealth has not been consistently present in verse. Your awareness. Wealth is often misunderstood as something created by external numbers, when in reality those numbers are only the reflection of an internal state that already exists first. The most common illusion about abundance is the belief that money generates the feeling of being secure, rich, or fulfilled. But it actually works in the opposite direction. It is the inner feeling of security, fullness, and ease that eventually expresses itself as financial reality. Most people begin their day already emotionally aligned with shortage. Before the day even unfolds, their attention immediately moves toward pressure, unpaid responsibilities, uncertainty, and fear of not having enough. In doing so, they unconsciously rehearse the experience of lack with strong emotional involvement. Since emotion is the language through which consciousness creates its impressions, life faithfully reflects that inner pattern back into physical experience. The external world is not randomly produced. It is continuously shaped by the dominant emotional tone held within. The human mind was never meant to be a passive recorder of circumstances. It is a creative instrument. It projects outward what is repeatedly accepted inwardly as true. Every feeling that is embraced as reality becomes a silent instruction written into the deeper layer of consciousness that organizes experience. This is why people can live under the same sky, in the same society, and yet experience completely different versions of life. One person walks with a quiet certainty that things will somehow align in their favor, while another wakes up already anticipating struggle. Life does not respond to external effort alone. It responds to the internal state that is most consistently lived in. Wealth, therefore, is not first a financial condition. It is a state of consciousness. When someone begins to feel internally aligned with abundance, their perception changes. They begin to think with more clarity, act with more confidence, and respond to situations from a place of expansion rather than fear. Even their expectations shift, and this shift influences what they notice in their environment. Opportunities do not suddenly appear out of nowhere. They become visible because the mind is finely tuned to recognize them. What you repeatedly feel determines what you repeatedly perceive, and what you perceive repeatedly becomes your lived reality. This is why some individuals seem to move through life with effortless financial flow, while others work endlessly yet feel stuck in the same cycle. The difference is not only in action but in identity. Life reflects the version of yourself that you continuously accept internally. If deep within you there is still an identity of struggle, then even your strongest efforts will tend to organize around that belief. But when the inner emotional identity shifts, outer reality begins to reorganize itself to match that shift. Transformation always begins within the unseen space of feeling, long before it appears in physical form. This is the principle emphasized in Neville Goddard insights. Imagination, when combined with feeling, is the creative foundation of experience. What is imagined and emotionally accepted eventually becomes externalized in time. Nothing in your future appears suddenly without first being shaped in the inner world of assumption. This is also why the early hours of the morning carry such importance. The mind, in its first waking moments, is still highly receptive. It has not yet been fully conditioned by the noise of the day. Whatever emotional state you enter at that time tends to set the tone for everything that follows. If the first thoughts of the morning are filled with stress or worry, then limitation becomes the emotional foundation of the day. But if you consciously enter a feeling of ease, security, and abundance before external concerns take over, you begin shaping a completely different trajectory. Imagine waking up and, before checking your phone or recalling your responsibilities, you simply rest for a moment in the feeling that your life is already supported, not as a forced imagination, but as a quiet inner acceptance, a sense that everything is unfolding in order. Feel what it would be like to be financially free, not as a distant goal, but as a present inner reality. Feel relief in your body. Feel steadiness in your mind. Feel gratitude without needing external proof. These emotional states are not empty fantasies. They are formative forces. Sustained feeling becomes instruction, and instruction becomes experience. The subconscious does not debate what is repeatedly felt. It accepts it as fact. This is why fear so often produces fearful outcomes, and confidence tends to open doors that align with it. Your inner emotional environment is constantly communicating with the outer world in ways most people never consciously notice. While they focus on changing external conditions, they often leave their internal state untouched, repeating cycles of desire mixed with worry. A person may say they want abundance, yet emotionally live in constant expectation of shortage. They may speak about success, yet internally prepare for disappointment. When two opposing emotional states exist, the deeper and more habitual feeling always becomes the one that shapes reality. Many individuals unconsciously resist wealth because they do not feel comfortable with ease. They have been conditioned to associate value with struggle, as if hardship is required to deserve success. As a result, they continue recreating familiar patterns of difficulty, not because they want them, but because those patterns match their identity. Abundance begins to flow naturally when resistance is released. Money and opportunity respond more to emotional openness than to force or strain. When a person begins to feel safe with expansion, life begins presenting circumstances that reflect that inner safety. Even the fear of receiving more can quietly block what is trying to arrive. Everything originates from the state of consciousness that is most active in daily life. This is why teachings associated with Neville Goddard insights continue to resonate over mail time. They point to a simple but profound truth. Inner assumption precedes outer experience. The visible world is always the last stage of creation, not the first. What you will experience tomorrow is already being shaped by what you consistently feel today. Each morning becomes a quiet turning point. Either you reinforce the familiar identity of limitation, or you step emotionally into a new sense of self. There is no truly neutral state. Even in stillness, an emotional direction is being set. This is why many people unintentionally repeat the same financial patterns for years. They begin their day by mentally revisiting stress, obligations, and fears. Without realizing it, they are emotionally rehearsing the very conditions they wish to escape. The subconscious mind does not distinguish between imagination and reality when emotion is strong. It simply accepts the dominant feeling and begins organizing experience around it. Life then appears to mirror those internal rehearsals with surprising consistency. But there is always a delay between inner change and outer reflection. During this invisible period, most people lose faith because they are watching external evidence too closely. When immediate results do not appear, they return to old emotional habits, reinforcing the same cycle again. Yet transformation always requires persistence in the unseen phase. The inner state must be held long enough to become stable before it fully externalizes. Those who succeed are not necessarily those who act the most, but those who remain emotionally consistent in their chosen state even before circumstances confirm it. Each morning offers a fresh opportunity to choose that state again. When you begin the day feeling abundant, calm, secure, and supported, you naturally carry a different presence into everything you do. Your decisions become clearer, your reactions soften, your attention shifts toward possibility instead of limitation. And over time, life begins to reflect that shift with increasing clarity. Consciousness always expresses itself outwardly. What you consistently inhabit within eventually becomes the structure of your external. The mind does not evaluate emotions based on whether they are beneficial or harmful. Its only function is to reproduce whatever is repeatedly impressed upon it with emotional intensity. This is why any change in your internal emotional environment eventually leads to a change in your external circumstances. The unseen world of feeling is not imagination in a meaningless sense. It is the foundational pattern from which the physical world takes shape. Consider what it would mean to begin your mornings in a completely different way from now onward. Instead of immediately engaging with thoughts of limitation or stress upon waking, you consciously choose to withdraw your attention from the idea of lack. Rather than scanning your mind for evidence of problems or pressure, you pause for a few moments and deliberately enter the feeling that your life is already supported, already expanding, already unfolding in abundance. This is not about forcing optimism or repeating empty phrases. It is about a quiet, grounded emotional acceptance, a natural inner shift, where you allow yourself to feel what financial ease would genuinely feel like if it were already your present reality. Feel the lightness of not being burdened by constant worry. Feel the relief of security. Feel the calm of knowing that your future is not collapsing but opening. Feel the ease of moving through life without financial fear dominating your inner dialogue. Feel what it would be like to live from a state of quiet confidence and steady expansion. The subconscious responds most strongly to emotion because emotion brings thought to life. A thought without feeling remains inactive, but a thought infused with emotion becomes influential. This is also why many people repeat affirmations for years without experiencing real change. They speak the words, yet internally remain aligned with doubt or fear. The subconscious does not prioritize language over feeling. It treats emotional experience as truth. When imagination and emotion work together, the inner world begins to reorganize itself. And once this inner reorganization becomes consistent, the outer world has no choice but to gradually reflect it. Reality always mirrors the most dominant and sustained state of consciousness. This principle also explains why certain shifts in life appear to happen suddenly after long periods of stillness. In reality, the change has been building invisibly for some time. The internal emotional identity has already transitioned, and the physical world is simply catching up to what has already been established inwardly. However, there is an important stage in this process that often causes people to give up. Just before external change becomes visible, the old reality often appears more intense. Existing problems may seem louder, delays may feel heavier, doubt becomes more persuasive. This is the exact point where many people unintentionally undo their progress by returning emotionally to fear because they trust visible evidence more than inner experience. Yet what is happening beneath the surface is often the most significant movement of all. Just as a seed grows underground long before it breaks through the soil, internal transformation develops quietly before it becomes visible in the external world. Wealth, success, and opportunity follow the same pattern. The person who remains emotionally aligned with abundance, even when circumstances have not yet changed, activates a process that most people never fully understand. Persistence does not mean forcing outcomes or struggling against reality. It means remaining faithful, in feeling, to the version of yourself that already has what you desire. At this level, identity becomes more important than effort. The state of being wealthy must become more familiar than the state of trying to become wealthy. You begin to operate from abundance rather than thinking about abundance as something separate from you. This difference is subtle but powerful. Thinking about wealth keeps it at a psychological distance. Thinking from wealth places you within the experience of it. From that inner position, your reactions naturally change. Temporary setbacks no longer feel like permanent definitions of your life. You stop reacting from panic because your identity is no longer rooted in lack. As this shift stabilizes, it becomes visible in how you carry yourself. Your tone changes. Your energy becomes more settled. Your decisions become clearer. Even your expectations begin to reflect a quieter confidence. Opportunities that once felt overwhelming start to feel accessible. Ideas flow more easily. Action becomes less forced because the internal resistance is dissolving. Many people attempt to behave as though they are abundant while still feeling internally aligned with scarcity. But life does not respond to performance. It responds to feeling. The emotional state underneath everything is what shapes the outcome. Real transformation happens only when that internal feeling itself changes. This is also why gratitude plays such a powerful role. Gratitude is a direct emotional acknowledgement that something good is already present. When gratitude is felt sincerely before external proof appears, it places you in alignment with receiving. It removes resistance. It creates internal certainty. Life responds quickly to certainty because certainty is unified energy. Doubt divides attention and weakens direction, while faith concentrates it. And at a deeper level, you do not need to know the exact method by which change will arrive. The conscious mind often struggles because it tries to control every possible outcome in detail. Yet reality is not limited to logic or visible pathways. There are countless routes through which wealth can arrive. Unexpected ideas, sudden opportunities, chance encounters, creative inspiration. career progress, business expansion, or openings that could never be predicted in advance. Your role is not to force how everything unfolds. Your role is to remain aligned with the feeling of your desire already being fulfilled. When that inner emotional state becomes stable and dominant, life begins reorganizing itself around it, automatically. Many people unknowingly become absorbed in present conditions to the point where those conditions feel absolute. They focus so intensely on what is currently happening that they become emotionally trapped by it. In doing so, they forget that every visible circumstance is actually a reflection of earlier internal assumptions. Nothing appears in the outer world without first existing as an inner state that was sustained long enough to take form. Poverty did not begin as a financial condition, it began as an emotional experience of limitation. Fear did not start externally, it started within consciousness and then expressed itself outwardly. In the same way, abundance must first be emotionally accepted before it can appear as physical reality. Life is constantly mirroring the private conversation you are having with yourself beneath the surface of awareness. Even when no words are spoken, your inner reactions are continuously shaping direction. When that internal dialogue is filled with worry, comparison, frustration, impatience, or desperation, it reinforces a sense of separation from abundance. But when you begin intentionally cultivating an emotional atmosphere of ease and sufficiency, each morning, your entire relationship with life begins to shift. You start feeling more grounded, more capable, and more at peace. Over time, you stop reacting like someone trying to survive circumstances and begin moving like someone shaping them. The difference is profound. Those who feel like victims wait for change, while those who operate as creators assume their outcome internally first. Victims search outward for proof. Creators generate inner certainty before anything appears externally. This is why emotional discipline is more powerful than external control. A person who cannot regulate their inner world will always feel controlled by their outer environment. But someone who learns to consciously choose their emotional state becomes naturally magnetic. There is something powerful about a person who wakes up each morning and refuses to surrender emotionally to fear. Imagine beginning your day in calmness before anything has changed externally. Imagine training yourself to feel abundance before there is any physical evidence of it. The mind may initially resist this because it has been conditioned to depend on visible proof. It may suggest that you are being unrealistic or that you should wait until circumstances improve before feeling secure. Yet this is exactly the pattern that keeps most people repeating the same cycle for years. Waiting for external change before shifting internally only recreates the same reality. The process works in reverse. Emotional state leads, and external experience follows. This is why those who understand the principles associated with Neville Goddard insights protect their mornings carefully. They understand that the emotional tone set at the beginning of the day deeply influences the subconscious mind. In those first waking moments, before distractions take over, there is a rare opportunity to impress a new assumption upon consciousness. Instead of immediately engaging with stress or obligation, you can quietly enter the feeling of already being financially secure, not through forced imagination, but through gentle inner acceptance. Feel the relief of financial ease, feel the absence of pressure, feel the comfort of knowing your life is supported and unfolding in order. Let your body experience a sense of wealth emotionally before the senses confirm it, physically. This is not escapism, it is preparation at the level where all experience is first formed. Athletes mentally rehearse success before competition. Musicians hear the music internally before it is performed. Architects design structures in imagination before construction begins. In the same way, financial reality is first established inwardly before it becomes visible externally. The challenge is that most people break this process through inconsistency. They may briefly feel aligned with abundance, but then spend the rest of the day emotionally absorbed in lack. They plant one seed of belief and then undo it with repeated doubt. They speak about possibility while internally preparing for disappointment. But reality responds to the dominant emotional identity, not fleeting moments. For manifestation to stabilize, the feeling must become habitual. Abundance must feel more familiar than struggle. Once that happens, perception itself begins to shift. You no longer see yourself as someone hoping for wealth. You begin to experience yourself as someone naturally moving toward expansion. From this inner shift, life begins to reflect confirmation. Coincidences increase. Opportunities appear unexpectedly. Helpful people enter at the right time. Ideas arise with unusual clarity. Different voices, even long-standing problems begin to dissolve without force, because your internal state is reorganizing the external experience around it. This transformation often begins quietly. On the surface, nothing seems to change at first, but internally, something fundamental is shifting. A deeper sense of certainty replaces anxiety. Quiet confidence replaces doubt. You begin to sense movement even before physical evidence arrives. Then, often without warning, external reality begins to respond. A financial opportunity appears. A door opens that was previously invisible. A path forms that could not have been logically predicted. It is not luck, it is the external reflection of a sustained internal shift. The most powerful morning practice is simple. Upon waking, before engaging with your phone or external demands, remain still for a few moments and enter the feeling of financial freedom already being true. Do not force emotion. Allow it gently. Breathe slowly. Imagine the relief of everything working in your favor. Feel the absence of pressure. Feel the ease of handling life without stress. Feel gratitude as though support is already present in your experience. These moments matter because the subconscious is most impressionable at the threshold of waking. What is repeatedly felt in this state begins forming the foundation of assumption, and assumption gradually becomes lived reality. With daily practice, this emotional conditioning begins reshaping identity itself. You no longer wake up as someone trying to escape lack. You wake up as someone expecting expansion. Even before external conditions change, your internal state becomes stable and self-assured. Over time, situations that once created fear lose their influence. Temporary setbacks no longer define your future in your mind. Instead of reacting with panic, you remain anchored in the expectation that abundance is unfolding. This inner stability becomes magnetic. Desperation repels, certainty attracts. A person who feels secure internally naturally makes clearer decisions, notices opportunities faster, and moves through life with a quiet influence that others can sense. True wealth is not only financial, it is emotional freedom. It is the ability to remain internally abundant before external evidence appears.